Hey y'all, my name is Amy. I am a full-time online clothing and shoe and accessory reseller. Today I have for you a what sold video, but I wanted to try a different format. I consistently watch Kaylee Elaine and KMN Resell and Teach and Thrift on YouTube, and they all do it this way, and I like that it's much more about the item and my face isn't shown in the middle portion of this video. So I'm gonna give it a try. Let me know what you think. I am still gonna be doing 20 items that sold for $40 or more. That part's not gonna change, just the way in which the item is shown will. And yeah, please let me know in the comments below if you like this, if you dislike it, if you're indifferent. I definitely plan on giving it a bit of a try for a series of videos just to see how it goes. These 20 items sold between February 7th and February 14th. I will be sharing these in order of platform sold. This first item sold on Curtsy. This is the Show Me Your Moo Claire midi dress in Sage. It sold for $54. It took 372 days to sell, which I realize is a super long time. This style usually sells quicker than that. It's definitely not the quickest selling style, but for whatever reason, this one just took a long time. I had paid $12.93 and I was left with $29.85. I am new to selling on Curtsy. I had seen on Instagram that it is super easy to start selling on Curtsy if you have a Poshmark closet. You can create an account and turn on a setting where they import all of your Poshmark listings, and then they have a 24-hour window where they upload new listings from Poshmark as well as delete items that sold on Poshmark. Moving on to Depop sales, this was actually a bundle sale. When a buyer sends offers on more than one item, I message them and let them know that I can bundle it so they save on shipping, and then also I can ship them together, which is easier for me. So I get onto Canva on my phone and just enter in their username and create a custom cover shot for them, and then take 2 screenshots of the items that include the title and size so they can be sure that I have the correct items that they're wanting in a bundle. But it just makes it super easy for me. The first item in this bundle is the Everlane Easy Pant in black. It sold for $45 13 days after listing, and that left me with $27.21. Next is the Dream Pant in canvas, also sold for $45 13 days after listing, leaving me $27.21 again. Next Depop sale was another pair of Easy Pants. This one sold for $42, but this one took 286 days, so definitely a long time. The Easy Pant, I feel like, can sell really quickly and sometimes cannot, and I'm not quite sure what the difference is in those listings. This one was definitely an older listing, so maybe something to do with photos or something else. This one left me with $22.34. Moving on to eBay, this is the Everlane Boxy Oxford shirt in chambray blue. This one sold 8 days after listing for $51.70. On eBay, the sale price does include shipping, so keep that in mind. I paid $5.87, so that left me with $33.63. And you'll see in this video the Boxy Oxford shirt over and over again. This one just does really well. It's on the Everlane best-selling section, and I definitely agree. A lot of them sold in the single-digit number of days. They just sold really quickly. Next is this Anthropologie moth sweater jacket cardigan. I wasn't quite sure what to call it. Here is the tag on this one. There is usually a red dot, which I just have covered here. That is part of their logo or brand tag. This one took 17 days to sell, and it sold for $44.50. I paid $10.75, so I was left with $21.58. This next item was a pleasant surprise because when I listed it, this style and this size was a little bit saturated. So I did price in competition with the lowest comp. I just matched their price. I had paid $34.20 for this piece. It sold just 1 day after listing for $128.05 and left me with $71.41 profit, which was amazing. Here is that tag. Club Monaco is something I've never picked up myself. This came in a box, so I did not hand pick it. But if I saw this in the thrift store, because it is cashmere, I would have picked it up anyway. In cashmere items, brand doesn't matter so much to me. I usually just pick up anything because it is such a luxurious feeling fabric and it definitely adds value to any brand. Next, another boxy Oxford shirt, but this one is in green. It sold 11 days after listing for $57.90, leaving me $38.70. And here is that brand tag. This is the newer Everlane tag, this like light gray color. The older ones are white. If I have one in a future video, I will definitely share it so you can see the difference. It doesn't mean necessarily that bad items will perform poorly, but I do feel like they do usually bring in less. Next is this Everlane Utility Barrel Pant in Dark Moss. I'm glad these sold in February because they are definitely more of a fall color in my mind. These sold for $64.15, 14 days after listing, leaving me $42.12. These, however, did end up getting returned because they did not fit the buyer. So I will end up relisting them, which is not a big deal. I hope they still sell because I do feel like the color is kind of off for spring and summer. So they may end up sitting for a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Next is this Everlane Supima Micro Rib Turtleneck in black. This one doesn't have the normal tag. It just has it printed on it. This style sells really quickly for me. It's on the Everlane best seller section, and I do agree. This one sold 5 days after listing for $41.95, leaving me $27.20. Next is a great brand, a great piece. This is the Patagonia Nano Puff quarter zip pullover in purple. I really liked this one. Here is the tag. The Nano Puff styles do really well by Patagonia. This one sold 14 days after listing for $66.75, leaving me $43.31. However, I did get a message from the buyer after the fact that there was a flaw on the sleeve, and I don't even know which sleeve it was. I did not see it, so I did not include it in the listing. As you can see, I said no flaws. So I think what happened is like someone was at a campfire and an ember from the fire maybe like landed on the sleeve of the jacket and burned like a tiny little pinhole in it. So since I had missed it, and there might have been one or two, I don't recall actually, the buyer just asked me if I had seen it and I said no. And to make it right, I wanted to keep the buyer happy. I offered for her to return it or that I would send a $15 partial refund just because obviously it was my fault and I missed it. And she was super happy with the jacket, loved the color, wanted to keep it, and took the partial refund of $15. So I did have a little bit lower of a profit on this one from that, but again, totally fine, just something I will be looking out for in the future. Next, another boxy Oxford shirt in white. This one sold just 1 day after listing for $56.90, leaving me $37.97. Again, this style just does extremely well for me, and it's distinguishable kind of by the side. I feel like it has this like dramatic side slit with this curved hem and this oversized, of course, boxy fit. So if you see this out in the wild, I do think it's probably worth picking up. Again, they're selling for $40 to $50 consistently and within like usually a week or less. This next item, I think I accidentally delisted my sold listing on Mercari, so I don't have this screenshot with all the pictures, but this is the Everlane Dream Pant. The Dream Pant consistently does well for me. This one sold 12 days after listing for $44, leaving me $30.29, and this is in a navy blue color. If you saw my last What Sold video, I talked about my surprise that Velvet was selling in February. This one, and I think two more after this, ended up selling. So obviously I'm not aware of when Velvet sells. I thought it would be more of a fall item, but it's doing great right now, surprisingly. And I thought, especially with the color, it would be more of a fall item. This is by the brand, let's see, After Six. So there is that brand tag. This one took 55 days to sell, sold for $85. and I had paid $10.45, so it left me with $62.70. And if you see velvet from this brand, so far that's all I have experience with, but they're doing pretty well. Moving on to Poshmark sales, this is the Everlane Fatigue Barrel Pant, which is different than the Utility Barrel Pant. It had this like adjustable side section, which I thought was kind of cool because you can make the waist smaller or whatever you need. It also is just kind of a statement piece with all the extra buttons. But utility pants are doing really well right now. This one sold 6 days after listing. It sold for $60, leaving me $40.85. If you've seen my other what sold videos, you've probably seen this exact item. This is the Outdoor Voices Rec Trek zip off overalls. This is the last one. I purchased 3 of them and I spent $39.55 per item, which is pretty substantial. And this one took 48 days to sell. Someone I went back and forth with, and we landed on 70, which is lower than I'd like, but I was happy just to recoup my investment and some and just move on from these pieces. So with me spending almost $40 in cost of goods, I was only left with $16.45 profit. Next is this Everlane Silky Cotton Relaxed Shirt. This one sold just 6 days after listing for $55 and left me with $38.13. And this one, I love the way these feel. That is that same tag. Next, we have another boxy Oxford. This one took just 3 days to sell. It sold for $45, leaving me $30.13. Next is an item that took a bit to sell. It took 71 days. This is the Everlane Renew Anorak Parka Jacket in bone. I had paid $25.50. It sold for $55, leaving me $18.50. And lastly, actually, another boxy Oxford. This one sold 6 days after listing for $40, leaving me $26.13. And that concludes all 20 items that sold for $40 or more. I hope you find some useful trendy styles or brands to look out for in this video. And I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.